Hello and namaste everyone. Welcome to lekhibooks. आज चाहिँ हामी lekhibooksमा दशैंमा पढ्नको लागि भनेर केही किताबहरू रेकमेन्ड गर्न गइरहेका छौं. Since Dashain is coming, some of you may have a long vacation. But not all of us are lucky. But still Dashain भनेपछि चाहिँ अरु फेस्टिभल्सहरु भन्दा अलि धेरै नै छुट्टी पाइन्छ. And I think it's a great way to spend your free time reading books or learning something new. मैले मेन्सन गर्न लागेको सबै किताबहरु चाहिँ तपाईले नेपालको बुक स्टोरहरुमा नपाउन पनि सक्नुहुन्छ. So I'll let you know where I read these books and which websites to go to भनेर. So if you want to get some great book recommendations for Dashain, watch the video till the end. If you're somebody new to this channel, I'm so glad that you stopped by and I'd really appreciate it if you hit the subscribe button. Now without wasting any time, let's get started. The first book I want to recommend is Maharani by Chandra Prakash. So यो चाहिँ एउटा हिस्टोरिकल फिक्सन हो. यो चाहिँ तत्कालीन समयको कथा हो जतिखेर नेपालमा 2224 राज्यहरू थिए अनि ती 2224 राज्यहरुमा पनि अलि बलियो राज्य मानिने पर्वत राज्यको दरबारको कथा हो. यो पर्वत राजाको चाहिँ दुई श्रीमतीबाट दुईटा छोराहरू हुन्छन्, भद्रीवव र मलिवम. मलिवमको जन्म पहिलो भएको कारण अनि परम्परा अनुसार जेठो छोराले नै गद्दी सम्हाल्नु पर्ने भएको कारण चाहिँ उनलाई चाहिँ पर्वतको युवराज भनेर घोषित गरिएको हुन्छ. तर भद्रीववलाई चाहिँ यो चित्त बुझ्दैन किनकि जन्मले मलिवम जेठो भए पनि गर्भमा आमाको कोखमा आउने चाहिँ उनी पहिला थिए. त्यसैले पर्वतको गद्दीमा उनको पनि अधिकार छ भन्ने कुरा चाहिँ उनले गर्छन् र यसकारणले चाहिँ पर्वतको गद्दीमा कसको हक लाग्छ, कसलाई चाहिँ युवराज बनाउने र भविष्यको राजा बनाउने भनेर एक किसिमको समस्या उत्पन्न हुन्छ. अनि गद्दी र प्रतिष्ठाकै निम्ति भनेर दरबारमा षड्यन्त्रहरू रचिन थाल्छन्.
When you play the Game of Thrones, you win or you die.
त्यही बेला चाहिँ हाम्रो मेन क्यारेक्टर राजकुमारी विश्वप्रभा उनी चाहिँ छिमेकी राज्यकी छोरी हुन्छन् र पर्वतको राजकुमार मलिवमको विवाहको लागि भनेर उनलाई बिटाइएको हुन्छ राजकुमारसँग बिहे गर्नको लागि. सो उनी चाहिँ अब बिहेको लागि भनेर पर्वत राज्यमा भित्रिए पनि अब जुन पर्वत राज्यमा यो षड्यन्त्रहरू चलिरहेको हुन्छ, जस्तो समस्या उत्पन्न भइरहेको हुन्छ, यसले गर्दा चाहिँ उनको जीवनले अर्कै मोड लिन पुग्छ. उनले आफ्नो प्रेम र पर्वतको गद्दीको लागि भनेर केही त्याग र बलिदान दिन बाध्य हुन्छन्. पछिसम्म पनि उनको त्याग र बलिदानको मान राखेर मानिसहरूले चाहिँ उनलाई देवीको रूपमा पनि पुज्न थाल्छन्. यो किताब चाहिँ एकदमै वेल रिसर्च्ड बुक भनेर भन्छु म चाहिँ. एकदमै इन्ट्रेस्टिङ पनि थियो. यसमा सबै खालको एलिमेन्ट्सहरू छ, रोमान्स पनि छ, मिस्ट्री पनि छ, थ्रिलर पनि छ. अनि अब दरबारको कहानी भइसकेपछि चाहिँ त्यस बेलाको राज्य व्यवस्था कस्तो थियो, कस्तो खालको लोकल प्रब्लम्सहरू आउँथ्यो अनि त्यो प्रब्लम्सहरूलाई चाहिँ अब राजा रानी भारदार मिलेर कसरी सल्भ गर्थे अनि दुई राज्यहरू बीच कस्तो सम्बन्ध थियो, कस्तो खालको कूटनीति व्यवस्था चाहिँ अँगालिएको थियो त्यतिखेर पर्वत राज्यले भनेर यी सबै कुराहरू देखाएको छ. अनि त्यस बेलाको कल्चर, त्यस बेला युज हुने ल्याङ्ग्वेज, यो दिनिया लिनिया खालको पर्वती भाषाको प्रयोग भएको छ. अनि सुरुमा पढ्दाखेरि अनौठो लागे पनि अब कथामा गुल्दै गएपछि चाहिँ एकदमै सजिलो भएको थियो, पढ्न रमाइलो लागेको थियो. इट इज वान अफ माई फेभरेट बुक. यो कथा यति इन्ट्रेस्टिङ छ, यदि तपाईँलाई हिस्ट्रीमा इन्ट्रेस्ट छ भने त तपाईँले पक्कै पनि मन पराउनुहुन्छ यो बुक. सो आई रेकमेन्ड दिस बुक टु एभ्री वान. The second book I want to recommend here is If You Could Be Mine by Sarah Farizan. This is a romance. The story is set in a town of Iran. The main character and also the narrator of the story is Sahar, and Sahar is in love with her childhood best friend Nazreen. Both of the girls are teenagers and they absolutely love each other. They have already shared kisses and promises of love. The love they have for each other is so pure and so innocent, but they cannot be together or marry each other in future because in Iran, same-sex relationship or marriage is illegal and even punishable by death. So both Sahar and Nazreen have to be extremely careful and have to keep their relationship a secret. This story puts a light on life of LGBTI community living in a country like Iran, where the sole existence of them is illegal. Sahar is the narrator of the story and from the beginning of the story you can't help but fall in love with her because she's such an honest and witty character. She just speaks her mind. She's intelligent, she's good at her studies, she's taking care of her father. She can go to any extent just to be with the person she loves. You might have some hesitation to read the book. You may feel like you will not enjoy the book because you might not relate with the sexual orientation that the book portrays. However, let me tell you that this is one of the best romance I have ever read. No cliches, no cringy moments. It is just pure love. It is too beautiful, too innocent, and tragic at the same time. I absolutely recommend this book no matter what your age is, no matter what your gender is. It is just too beautiful. If you love reading romance, I am sure that you will also love this book. The next book I want to recommend here is Nirvan by Gansem Khadka. Before talking about the book, first let's understand the meaning of Nirvan. Transcendent state in which there is neither suffering, desire, nor sense of self, and the subject is released from the effects of karma and the cycle of death and rebirth. It represents the final goal of Buddhism. So Nirvan भनेको चाहिँ अब different religion अनुसार निर्वाणको concept different छ, but actually in Buddhism मा चाहिँ निर्वाण भनेको त्यो state हो जहाँ चाहिँ you are free from sufferings and you are free from the cycle of death and rebirth. I don't know how to describe this book. It has really weird plot, but I like this book because of its topic. It is a story of a guy and his journey towards spirituality and its experiences. यस कथाको मेन क्यारेक्टर चाहिँ साइकोलोजिस्ट हुन्छ बाई प्रोफेसन अनि उसको चाहिँ एकजना साथी हुन्छ मोनिका भन्ने. And she talks about death a lot and it feels like she is really depressed and sad. अनि हाम्रो मेन क्यारेक्टरलाई चाहिँ मोनिकाको बारेमा खासै थाहा हुँदैन, बट ही हेज एक्चुअली मेट हर एन्ड ही इज इन्ट्रिग्ड बाई द गर्ल. तर एक दिन चाहिँ अचानक मोनिका जस्ट गायब हुन्छ एन्ड सी जस्ट डिसएपियर्स. डोन्ट गेट टु एक्साइटेड बिकज इट इज नट अबाउट म्याजिक. She is just a friend and nothing more than that. So after the girl disappears, the guy just goes on with his life. He meets Monica again when he is at the moment of death in the latter part of the story. So it feels like it is a suspense, and there is suspense into it, which keeps the story going. यो किताब चाहिँ बुक पढुन्जेल कथामा गुलमिल हुन्जेल चाहिँ एकदमै इन्ट्रेस्टिङ लाग्छ. तर बुक पढेर सकाएपछि when you look back at the plot of the story त्यतिखेर चाहिँ के कुरा नमिलेको जस्तो कुनै क्यारेक्टर्सहरू इन्ट्रोड्युस गरेको छ तर त्यसको पर्पजै छैन स्टोरीमा, अनि कुनै कुराहरू चाहिँ एकदमै फिल्मी पाराले देखाएको छ. हल्का सस्पेन्स भएर पनि होला अनि पछि अब स्टोरीमा के हुन्छ भन्ने त्यो क्युरियोसिटी पनि भइराखेर द बुक गेट्स इन्ट्रेस्टिङ. तर सकिसकेपछि चाहिँ यु विल रियलाइज द्याट देयर आर लट्स अफ plot holes in the story. I do recommend this book because of the topic it deals with. यसमा चाहिँ फिक्सन को थ्रुबाट स्पिरिचुअलिटी को बारेमा अवेयर गराउन खोजिरहेको छ एन्ड द बुक डज द्याट जब रियली वेल. अब यो किताबमा अझ मन परेको कुरा चाहिँ निर्वाण प्राप्तिको लागि हामी साधु नै बन्नुपर्छ भन्ने छैन, तपस्या गर्नुपर्छ भन्ने छैन, जोगी बनेर हिँड्नु पर्दैन. हामी हाम्रो नर्मल लाइफ जिएर हामी बिहे गरेर एउटा घर बसालेर पनि हामी निर्वाण प्राप्त गर्न सक्छौँ भन्ने कुरा चाहिँ देखाएको छ. एन्ड द्याट वाज समथिङ रियली इन्ट्रेस्टिङ. किनकि मलाई चाहिँ यस्तो लाग्थ्यो कि त्यो जुन स्टेट छ नि स्पिरिचुअल एक्सपिरियन्सहरू त्यो स्टेटमा पुग्नको लागि चाहिँ युल ह्याभ टु सेक्रिफाइस अ लट भन्ने जस्तो लाग्थ्यो. धेरै मान्छेहरूको लागि चाहिँ यो किताब एउटा लाइफ चेन्जिङ किताब पनि हुनसक्छ. जब चाहिँ म यो बुक पढिरहेको थिएँ देयर वाज अ मोमेन्ट when I felt like this thing should be known to everyone. Despite all the faults in the story, whatever the book talks about, it is something that you should not miss. It is something that you should not be okay with not knowing. The next book in my list is Sophie's World by Justin Gardner. यो बुक चाहिँ मैले 12 मा पढेको थिएँ अनि मेरो इङ्ग्लिस टिचरले चाहिँ ही नोटिस्ड माई इन्ट्रेस्ट अन बुक्स अनि उहाँले रेकमेन्ड गर्नुभएको थियो मलाई पढ्नको लागि. आई थिङ्क यो चाहिँ हाम्रो नेपालको मास्टर्स अर ब्याचलरमा मेजर इङ्ग्लिस गर्नेहरूको लागि चाहिँ क्युरिकुलममा पनि छ यो बुक. यो चाहिँ एउटा philosophical book हो and it is a fiction. The book ponders upon philosophical ideas, its history, evolution and development, and it makes you wonder about the simplest things of life. It is a story of a 14-year-old girl, Sophie. One day when she returns home from her school, she finds there are 2 letters for her. When she opens the letters, there are only 2 questions. Who are you and where does the world come from? Sophie does not know who sent the letter. Sophie doesn't know why she is being asked this question. But these questions make her sit down in her garden and think about it for hours. The next day, she starts getting letters continuously from a man named Albert Knox, and he starts teaching her about philosophy through letters. Sophie is learning about philosophy and philosophers, its history, its development, all those things from these letters. The story gets more interesting when Sophie starts getting postcards which is addressed to a girl named Hilde. So Sophie does not know who the girl Hilde is, but she is getting all her postcards out of nowhere. There is mystery in the story, there is magic, and there is a world of fantasy. Though I couldn't grasp a lot of things around the ending of the book, I did enjoy reading it. Reading this book was a whole new experience. You get to know about philosophers from the time of Aristotle and Plato to the modern thinkers. Since the main character of the book is a 14-year-old girl and she's the one learning about philosophy, even the complex ideas are explained and described in such a simple language. This is a bulky book and I think this book would be perfect for those who have a long vacation in Dashain. The next book I'm recommending is my all-time favorite book. It is We Have Always Lived in Castle by Shirley Jackson, and this is a horror book, but it is not horror in a sense that there are haunted souls or a haunted ghost. It is horror in a sense that while reading it, you will feel the creepiness. This is a story of 2 sisters, Mary Catherine and Constance Catherine, who are living an isolated life with their crippled uncle in their family house. The other members of the family, they are already dead. They were actually murdered by arsenic poisoning, and the only person who survived the poisoning was their uncle. Though he survived the poisoning, he is crippled both physically and mentally. Now both these sisters are taking care of their house, of their uncle, but they do not come out of the house. They are always living within their errand. So from the beginning of the story, you will realize that the whole villagers hate this family. They do not even allow their children play near the house or go near the house. The younger sister, Mary Catherine, she is a very interesting character and she is also the narrator of the story. She is actually 18 years old, but the way she narrates the story, the way she is telling things, it feels like she is 10 or 11 years old. She has a great imagination. In fact, she is living in her imagination most of the time. She talks about wanting to go to moon. She digs things around the house so that it could protect her family and her house. The more you get into the story, the more you start learning about her, you realize that she is not that innocent. She doesn't like outside world interfering their business. This book has mystery into it. There is this steady vibes throughout the book, and the language is so beautiful you will not want to put it down. There is a lot of character building. This is a slow paced novel. This book also carries the concept of witchcraft and sisterhood. I recommend you to look at some explanation of this book after you finish reading it. I believe this is a great time to read Bhagavad Gita if you are interested in reading. Since it is a festive season, reading books of Amish Tripathi is also a great idea. I have not personally read his books, but I'd love to someday, and I have heard a lot of good reviews about them. So yeah, that's the end of the video. Thank you so much for staying till the end. If you have any recommendations, then please drop them in the comment section. I'll see you in the next video. Until then, bye bye and take care and happy Dashain.